Hello, everybody. Welcome to this news capsule on banking news and views for the week ended 25 for 2020. So, we have some very good news this particular last week, and let's take each of these newses and let's try to analyze what is the impact of these news. So, the first news is about Bank of Baroda. You may be aware that Bank of Baroda merged with Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank. So, Bank of Baroda is going to raise about 13,500 crore, which includes about 9,000 crore in common equity, plus about 4,500 crores by the way of additional tier 1 and tier 2 capital instruments. So, why would a bank raise their equity capital? The reason is very simple. The reason is they would like to increase their business because we have what is called as a concept of capital adequacy ratio. You need to maintain capital which is in sync with the business that you do. In other words, your capital is directly related to the risk weighted assets of a bank. And what are these risk weighted assets? The assets of a bank are nothing but loans and advances given by the bank to third party, to its customers, to other banks, to government institutions, so on and so forth. So the basic idea you need to understand is 30,500 crores a Bank of Baroda is going to raise, and therefore it would mean they have an increase in business as their objective to the during the next ensuing 1 year or 1.5 years or whatever their business plan is. We need to understand what is tier 1 capital and what is tier 2 capital. Now, tier 1 capital is nothing but a primary funding source for a bank, which includes shareholders' equity and retained earnings or profit and loss account or profits of a bank. And tier 2 capital includes the revaluation reserve, hybrid capital instruments, subordinated term debts, general loan loss reserves, and undisclosed reserves. So, what do you mean by hybrid capital instruments? So this is an instrument which will have both equity and debt as a part of that instrument. So supposing you have a convertible debenture, that's a hybrid capital instrument. And what is this subordinated term debt? Subordinated term debts are those debts which are unsecured. So which means in case of repayment, they would be ranking last. That is after everything has been paid. That means all secured loans have been paid. These subordinated debts would then rank for repayment. Okay. Let's go to the next news that we saw last week. RBI's TLTRO 2.0 gets muted response. Now, the Reserve Bank of India, first of all, let's understand what is TLTRO. The full form of TLTRO is targeted long-term repo operations. Now, you know what is a repo operation. Repo operation is an operation on the basis of which banks borrow money from the Reserve Bank of India at the repo rate. Now, when we are talking about this TLTRO, RBI came out with a new window for helping the bank to borrow funds from Reserve Bank of India and to correct what is happening to this economy currently. So what the Reserve Bank of India did in the second phase of TLTRO, it issued about 25,000 crores. And this particular instrument would provide a 3-year liquidity to the banking system, specifically meant for deployment in the debt paper of small, medium-sized non-banking finance companies and microfinance institutions. Now, unfortunately, RBI got a bid for just 12,850 crores. This is really disappointing. Why is it so? Because the RBI expected that if the banks take 25,000 crores from it and it is borrowed on a long-term basis, that is for 3 years period, the banks would be in a position to deploy this into the market and perhaps to a certain extent correct the liquidity issue in the market. And this TLTRO, which the Reserve Bank came out with, it was very specific. It was very clear that you could invest this money either in a primary or a secondary debt issuance of small and mid-sized NBFCs and MFIs. And earlier there were limits specified. Now this time there are no limits specified as well. The only stipulation was that they should invest in investment grade debt. That was the only thing. But this particular issue did not get the kind of response that RBI was expecting. And perhaps RBI needs to come out with some other idea to coax the bank to get into this TLTRO. And what could it do? Probably, or perhaps, Reserve Bank can explore partial credit guarantee by the Government of India. Then perhaps we can be sure that there could be some sort of better response for this RBI's TLTRO operations. The third thing in the news was RBI to conduct OMO to adjust yield curve. Now, OMO means open market operations. Now, when we talk about yield curve specifies the interest rate on an instrument for different periods. The common logic is interest rate for a lesser period would be less, and interest rate for a longer period or a term period would be more. It's a very common logic. Now, what has happened is currently the yield curve is not as per the liking of the market and as per the liking of Reserve Bank of India. So how could you change this yield curve? Very simple. All you have to do is simultaneously purchase and sell securities of different maturities. And automatically, with the balancing effect, things would work well. So what did RBI do? RBI is expected to conduct simultaneous purchase of government securities which are maturing for 6 to 10 years, and at the same time sell cash management bills, treasury bills, which are maturing in the near term future, next couple of months to a year. So this way, the correction would automatically take place. So the idea is the special OMO is probably aimed at correcting the yields at short and long end of the government security yield curve. Now, what are these cash management bills that we spoke about? Cash management bills are short-term bills by the central government to meet their immediate cash needs. The bills are issued by Reserve Bank of India on behalf of the government. Hence, CMBs are short-term money market instrument that helps the government to meet its temporary cash flow mismatches. So what RBI will be doing? RBI will be purchasing G-Secs maturing on 2026, 2028, 2029 and 2030 at different coupons. Coupons is nothing but the interest rate. And at the same time, it will simultaneously sell two CMBs maturing on June 16th, that is 77 days, and June 23rd, 84-day CMB. 182-day treasury bill maturing on October 15, 2020, 364-day treasury bill maturing on April 15, 2021. So this is how RBI proposes to correct the yield curve. Now let's move on to the next news. Relief package for women Jan Dhan account holders. Now, if you recollect, on March 26th, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced a rupee 1.70 lakh crore relief packages under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana for poor to fight the battle against coronavirus. Now, this particular relief package, which our finance minister gave, was to be disbursed, not the entire amount, was to be disbursed to the women Jan Dhan account holders. So the idea was to give them rupees 500 in the month of April, 500 in the month of May, 500 in the month of June through Jan Dhan accounts. And then these cash benefits were to be transferred through direct bank transfer, that is the digital payment infrastructure. So to this particular scheme of the Prime Minister definitely would bring about a relatively some sort of succor to the poor people. Now let's, since we are talking about Jan Dhan accounts, let's also talk about what Jan Dhan account is all about. So the Prime Minister Jan Dhan account was launched on August 28th, 2014, with the aim to provide universal access to banking facilities to the people in the country. Accounts opened under PMJDY are basic savings bank deposit accounts. That's all. The only feature, the only two additional features I would say, is that you get a RuPay debit card and you are entitled for an overdraft. Now, this particular scheme has really worked wonders, because as per the latest data, the total number of accounts is 38.12 crores. And it has got a huge kitty of almost 1.27 lakh crores. And the last news that we have for this week is HDFC takes 6.43% stake in Reliance Capital. So if you think that HDFC is planning to take over Reliance Capital, no. Or it is planning to increase the stake because it wants to increase its stake? No. What had happened was, earlier, HDFC has lent almost about 523.98 crores to Reliance Capital. And we all know that Reliance Capital is today debt laden. And what the mortgage lender HDFC did was simply invoke the pledge agreement, on the basis of which the debt which was given to Reliance Capital was invoked. So in other words, Reliance Capital had pledged their shares with HDFC through, of course, trustees. And when HDFC found that they had clearly defaulted their term loans, they invoked this particular pledge agreement. And that's it. So when they invoked this agreement, immediately HDFC became the owner of 25.27 crores worth shares at the rate of 10 each. So they were able to recover almost about 252 crores of rupees. This is all for, this is the only news that we have for this week. See you next week. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.